Hey guys, welcome back to an episode of Vajayjays podcast. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Liz.
I'm Krista.
And I'm Catherine.
And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about fear getting in the way. That can go anything with like life, relationship, work. We're kind of just going to go like deep delving into some of those kind of, a little bit on the deeper side of our personal fears and also just kind of basic fears in itself. Okay, so the first question is, do you remember significant moments in your life where fear stopped you from doing something that you still have doubts about? Or have you overcome the fear later in life and wish you had done it sooner?
Oof. I feel like the only thing that I can really think about where I was fearful was leaving my ex. I think I was scared in believing the lies, or I guess not really. Lies. I hate to sound so negative about it. I never like to talk about this like in a negative connotation, no matter how I felt or what I was going through. I just feel like it was part of my life, and I have no regrets. I don't regret it at all. Had I wished I'd done it over, had I wished I could, or I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I'm all like flustered all of a sudden.
Do
But
you wish you could have left sooner?
I don't know. I think I had held on to a hope that things would change, that things would be different. Obviously, I cared about him to stay that long. Do I regret leaving? Do I regret doing it? Do I regret staying? No, I don't regret any of that. I feel like I'm definitely in a better place in my life. If I could do it over, I probably wouldn't have been in the length of a relationship that we were in. From the get-go, it was just kind of rocky and rough, but we kind of stuck it out and thought we could, make it last. That high school sweetheart. We have a lot of great memories that I cherish. I'm not gonna lie. He's definitely part of my life, a big part of my growing up, a big part of who I am today. So that's why I don't like to talk about it in a negative connotation, no matter how I felt. You guys know the whole story, so it's a lot for me to say this, if I'm being honest, for me to say that I don't talk about it in a negative sense. I never want to speak bad about him or in his name or any of that, because at that time, in that moment, that's what I wanted, and that's what I chose. That was my choice at that moment, in that time. And in that time, would I do it again? No, because like I said, I'm a better person for it today. And if that fear wasn't there, that fear of never thinking that I would find love again, that fear of never finding someone who could love me for where I was and who I am, or that fear of being lonely, or that fear of never finding lovely in-laws again, like that scared me. I didn't think that I could move on from it. I mean, it was 6 long years. I mean, a lifetime at that moment, right? Now, yeah. 6 years is nothing. What was I thinking?
That's a long time.
It is a long time, but I mean, in just 5 years, here I am with my master's in my career and moving on and in a way better place. So 6 years, like, come on. Mm-hmm. But again, like, not to bash on my previous relationship, not to bash on my ex, like, never that.
I feel the same way about mine. It was nowhere near your 6 years, but I don't like to talk about it in a negative way. But I also was afraid to leave because I was like, where am I going to stay? Because we were living together. And I'm just like, it's too scary because I don't like confrontation. So I just like let everything go.
I think another thing that I was scared of was applying to my master program. I was so fearful of even doing it. I had nowhere to apply to. I knew that I didn't want to go back into an actual classroom because it just wasn't for me. And I was going to settle with not that this is settling, but for me, it was settling, like applying to University of Phoenix, like that online program that you see on the commercials, or just one of those online programs that were just easy to get in and anybody can get in. And I was going to settle for that. But then I had talked to somebody who at the time was super significant in my life. She just kind of fed me life. She fed me so many like aspirations. She was a young professional herself, and she was just on the move. She was saving money. She was about to buy a house. She was about to get married. So I was like, I need to be like you. So let me just listen and like soak all this in. And she was like, no, like you can't settle. Like you have to apply, look into programs that are willing to accept you. And I was like, but the only ones are like out of state. And then there's USC. Like there's no way I'll get into USC. And I was fearful. I was so fearful. Like USC, no way. Like that's out of the question. My GPA was barely, good enough to even get in. I didn't have all the qualifications. I didn't have the money, let alone like super, super fearful. And then I just came completely vulnerable, and I said, okay, I'm leaving it to God. And I had my church literally like pray over me. And it was like after a church service, and I was crying the whole time that I told them, like, by the way, I applied to a program, and it's USC, not just any program. And I'm putting all my eggs in one basket because I'm only applying to this one program. So if I don't get in, like, that's it. Like, this isn't for me. And so they all prayed over me. And then like a month later, I get an email. This is kind of the worst part of it, but I get an email, and I'm in the car with my mom, and I was like, oh my God, Mom. And she's like, what? And I was like, I just got like an email from USC. Like, this is either my acceptance letter or my decline letter. And she's like, okay. And I was like, okay, like what? This is huge. So I open it, and I just started crying, like full on, like full blown tears. And she's like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, oh my God. It's like, I just got accepted into USC. And I'm just sitting there crying, and she's like, congrats. I was like,
Thanks, Mom.
so I guess just like stepping out and listening to other people, and really like accepting like what other people have to say about you and think of you, I think is hard in itself. But like, don't step out into like those fearful thoughts that like you're not good enough, that there's not going to be a way, that you're not going to be able to overcome whatever you're going to overcome, because there are people who like are out there to like encourage you and like really lift you up, and who believe in you. And I'm lucky to be with 3 of those people right here.
Cute. Mine was like my business. Before I did it for like years, I wanted to do it. And then I was always like, no, I'm going to get yelled at. Cause like if I mentioned it to my parents, they're like, you're wasting your money investing. Why are you going to buy an iPad? Why are you buying a printer for shipping? Like everything was in question. And I was just like, okay, I can't do this. Cause if it fails, I'll get killed for all the money I spent, because I spent a lot of money on this. Part of me sometimes wish I did it sooner, because I feel like it would help my mental health when I was younger. But part of me is also like, I wouldn't have been able to do it as well as I am now if I did it when I was younger, because I wasn't as prepared, and I wouldn't have worked as hard, I think.
Not to mention like your experience with marketing and all these companies that you like got to work for, and like, like what works and what doesn't work. Yay for stepping out in fear.
I feel like I did step out in fear, but this is kind of like an old story when I was in high school. So with my family dynamics, it's like, as a family, you go to this church, and like this church, everybody, you grow in there, and like you have like the same like teenagers who like know each other. They grow up and they raise their families in that same church, and it's kind of just like, it's just this community that you just kind of stick with for your whole life. And when I was in high school, I didn't really feel like I belonged there. Like everybody was nice and all, but I didn't feel like I connected. And so I stayed because I don't know, because I felt like I owed it to my parents, and they asked me not to leave. And they said, please don't break up our family. Like, this is our community. This is like, you belong here. But I didn't always feel like I belonged. So I think when I started college, I was like, I think it's time for me to like move on. So I moved on, and I like went outside of the community, and I ended up like really like feeling like I belonged in this new community that I found. And I was like, wow, like I stayed at my old church, like they were really great people, but like I kind of felt like, dang, why didn't I like leave sooner? Because I found like new people that I connected with more on a deeper level. And I was like, honestly, I think that was like the best move for me. to like, you know, break away a little bit from like the community that they said like, oh, I have to be in. But if you don't really feel like that connected, like maybe it's time to like move on and find another one. So I wish I had done it sooner, but I mean, it is what it is. And I think like at the end of it, like if I went into detail with my whole life story, like everything happened on purpose and on time at the time that it did. So I'm just glad that I did it.
Yeah, and that's tough. Coming from the same culture and values, that's not an easy thing to break ties in that sense, especially when they're like, no, don't leave. You kind of have to like go off like blessed. Like they have to kind of like bless you out and say, yeah, like totally agree that you should leave. And so when you kind of don't get that blessing, it's a little tough.
So I mean, you guys already know, but I'll mention it to the podcast that you viewers know that I have been looking for a job for a couple of months now, and I actually had gotten accepted into a job for a construction company.
Not just any job.
Well, no, not before that one.
Oh, okay.
But obviously, you know, like during this time for the pandemic, I was like, you know, I just need to get a job so I can build up any experience and then just kind of move on. So I got accepted into a construction or real estate company and was going to be doing kind of like faculty work or whatever. And at this whole time that I accepted it, I was like, I don't feel extremely happy that I've accepted this job. One of it is because it's not in a field that I'm particularly interested about. Like, I don't really care about it. And I was kind of being pressured into doing it because of my recruiter. She's like, this is stuff that you should say, you know, tell them that you're like really interested in doing this stuff. And I was like, I'm interested in the accounting portion of it, but not in the real estate portion of it. And I was just like, I mean, like, yes, it's a safety net because real estate will always be here for years to come. I was like, but I don't think it's something that I'm necessarily like interested in. And so like during the whole time that I've accepted it, it was literally like a 3-day period before I would start work. I was just like thinking it over and over in my head. I was like, is this really a job for me? Is this a job that I want? And I just kept asking myself that, and I kept doubting myself and then asking Michael, and he's like, well, what's really stopping you? And I was like, I don't know. It's just a gut feeling that I don't like this job. I don't know why. And I haven't even started it yet. And so I knew that at the time I was just like, COVID, okay, like if I'm going into the office, I'm going to be exposed to, you know, like people who may have had COVID and all that other stuff. And so I think at that time I was just like, okay, I can't do this anymore. So even before I started, I quit the job. I would say that would be fear getting in the ways because it's something that I just wasn't happy about in my gut telling me. But luckily, the door has shined on, and then I was accepted a job offer the next week.
So
and
crazy.
So what was that?
It's so crazy life.
No, I know. And so like when I think it's just absolutely crazy. Yeah. So like people who are just like you're job searching right now, like just keep hanging on. It's a long journey, but you'll find something that you're happy about. Don't just take anything. Like I kept saying that to myself too. Just take any job, any experience, get any money. But honestly, if you're not going to be happy about it and you don't want to upset the people that you're going to work with for quitting like a month or two after, just don't take it. Don't do it. It's totally fine. Take your time. And on a brighter, less intense side, the fear of getting in the way has stopped me multiple times at Disneyland. For those who know the tower, the previous Tower of Terror, which is now the
Guardians of the
Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy ride, right? Okay, I don't like up and down rides, and I've told Michael this multiple times before we wrote it. I said, I hate this ride. I'm not going to go on this ride. And we go, right? And we get tickets because I'm just like, we're here to have fun. Just fucking go on the ride. And my ass sees these, 6 to 8-year-old kids. I'm like, look, they're going to have fun. Why can't I have fun? So, you sit inside, they strap you and they pull you back. As soon as that coaster pulls you back before they go up, I knew it. I was like, I fucking made a mistake. I made a mistake. I just held on to Michael's arm for dear life, like burying myself in his neck while grabbing like the outside bar, and the guy behind me is just having a blast. And at the end of the ride, the lady was like, that's the best ride here. And I was like, this is the worst ride. And so that ride made me so scared that when we went to go on the Incredicoaster, I couldn't even go on it because I was so traumatized. I was like, there's going to be so many drops, and if I can't see it, I'm not going to like it. And it makes me really anxious.
You poor thing, man. You poor thing.
So it's
I know, I
already
was like, can we switch? I'll give you my neck.
yeah, we can switch, girl. I don't want to sit on that ride. I'd rather die.
So in our Questions Men Are Afraid to Ask Women Part 2, we talked about how we're too scared to approach guys that are too cute, and we would rather date people who are not too cute because we're all scared kind of rejection. So let's talk in depth about the fear of rejection and like the fear of the unknown and how that has or could lead to missed opportunities in life. Pretend you're all single, go back to before. Or like Tiffany, when you're looking for boys.
Do I have a story to tell you?
Tell us.
Okay, I have at least confessed to 3 or 4 boys in my whole lifetime. And I've also gotten probably rejected by all 4 of them before my So it's like ripping off a Band-Aid, okay? So the first one was in middle school. I had a crush on this guy that you guys all know. We're not naming here. And so I had told my friend, I was like, okay, I'm too pansy to do it. Can you just go and like tell him that I like him? And she's like, okay. She goes over and she tells him, obviously. And then he's just like, oh, she does? So, and I was just like, well, there goes that. It's fucking whatever, right? And after that, I was like, it's fine. I'll just admire you from afar. Like, don't think anything of me. And then the second time was in high school, and we had done it over. Oh no, actually, that one was okay, but we dated for a week. Didn't count.
Oh, that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, it was that one. But basically, I was just like, yeah, I like you. And he's like, yeah, I like you too. We went on like a date or two. And after, I was just like, what am I thinking? I'm a high schooler. Like, what do I know about the future? This isn't going to last, whatever. I was like, so we probably shouldn't date. And so he hated me for the rest of even now, because my sister had bumped into him at a club, and he's just like, yeah, your sister's Tiffany, right? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, I hate her. And I was just like, that's cool. Whatever. Like, we're adults now. Who cares?
Who cares?
And
so
the
bitter.
and the third one was someone from college. He was a really cute guy that I had like a science class with. And so obviously, you know, when you have crushes, you're like, oh yeah, I could totally help you with that. I can send you my notes. Being the stupid ass girl I am, fucking swooning over this guy. And he just didn't give like 2 cents at all until like the day of the final, and I was like leaving class. And then he's just like, hey, like, where are you going? I was like, I'm fucking going home. I want to go home. He's like, oh, do you want to ride home? And I was like, if this guy wants to spend his gas taking me home, sure, let's go. And so on the way home, he's just like, oh, so you liked me, right? Because then I asked him out on a date, but he didn't think it was a date. I was like, do you want to go on a date with me? And he goes, well, it wasn't a date. And I was like, you said yes. Okay.
Wait, so, okay.
Anyways, but yeah, he's like, we should hang out in the summer. And I was like, no.
Wait, why?
Yes, girl. You tell him no. You tell him no.
Because this guy was literally just going to play with me.
Oh.
Because during the day, I got him the movie ticket. I paid for our meal. We were just walking around. Like, I don't mind being the pants in the relationship, okay? But if I know you don't like me, like, why are you trying to play games with me? Like, I'm trying to put like 110% into myself to give to you, and you're just like 0. So, yeah, fear of rejection. I mean, I don't have any fear of rejection now. I just kind of go with it. I'm just like, rip off the Band-Aid and get it over with, because I don't think I've like put that much time into you that I care as much now. Yeah, I guess being older makes me better.
You a ballsy lady.
I just like to look up boys, and
And I like how you don't take it seriously. Like, your whole world doesn't get crushed when you find out like maybe it doesn't work out, and you're just like, okay, cool, on to the next one.
oh,
That's
here,
a really
let me
good
tell you.
point.
The most dramatic thing that I've done, obviously, I think a couple of girls have also done it, was after I found out that my uncle had a girlfriend. This is before I even confessed to him. I was just like, it's over. It's done with. I dyed my hair and I got it cut. Just like every other girl. Yeah.
That's how it's done. That's how it's done.
Your feelings good. Done with your hair.
That's how you move on. There's no other way.
Exactly. I don't know why we do it. We just do.
New hair, don't care. That's why, right?
Okay, well, so you're not scared.
I mean, I was scared before because, like your feelings would get crushed. Like you just kind of mope around a little bit after you get rejected. But then you just pick yourself back up. You're like, why waste my time on one fish when there's a fish, like there's a sea of fish. It's always going to be more, baby.
True.
Catch me that tuna right there.
I'm allergic,
Okay,
stay away.
so oh yeah, I forgot. I don't know. I was normally never the one to like approach a guy just because like I don't know. I have to like really have like a friendship with somebody first before I like want to like approach it in a romantic way. But there was this one time I was in class and then there was like a cute guy that sat behind me and I was like throwing eyes at him and it worked. Like he ended up like talking to me and then he like we were like reciprocating, but then like I found out what his personality was like and I was like, ugh, no. And then I went back to my old way of thinking. I was like, have the relationship first or have the friendship first, because then you never know if they're a dud on the inside.
I'm like that too. But I'm still scared. I've been scared my whole life. Like,
no way.
And I totally think it leads to missed opportunities because I never know. Like I told you guys, after the relationship, I've always said no to people because I'm just so scared because they're either too cute or like I'm just afraid because I don't know. Like I don't know. But the one time I always think about possible missed opportunity because I love my chocolate men. And like one asked me out and he was seriously like my dream. So cute and like, I don't know. I got so scared that I didn't give it. And so I'm always thinking sometimes like I probably could have also missed out on other people that asked me because I'm just so scared. Like I don't know why. And I don't think I would ever go up to someone because I'm scared of rejection. But since we got drunk, you guys put me on dating apps. And now I'm like, it's not that scary anymore because the good thing is COVID's here, so I don't have to go out yet. We have to be friends first, which is all I wanted. And yeah, I don't know. I think also because I'm older, I just don't care anymore. And you guys made me less scared because you just made me do it. Or
like
I probably
Nike.
would have never done it.
Wait, so like this guy, he like asked you and you said no, or you? Oh,
I said I was drunk. Ish, but I said that he was drunk when he clearly wasn't, and I was just too scared. I was like, you only like me because you're drunk. And he was like, no. And then like his friends left him because he waited so long to keep talking to me. And then I was like, no. And he was like, I don't want your number. Like, if that's scary, just give me something else, like your social media. And I was like, no. And then he left. And I was
would have been
like,
your friend and be like, here it is, follow her.
I know, my friends were like so shocked they didn't say anything. And they regretted it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think for me, I just became brave. I wasn't always brave. So back to my ex, super rocky, super bad, right? So I kind of just was like, what's the worst that could happen? You know what I mean? Like I've already been through it. So what else can happen, And so I kind of just like put myself out there. And when I did, like, it was received well. I mean, don't get me wrong, I wasn't always received well. I did get rejected a few times and it did suck, but I was kind of like, whatever, like I still love myself. And I think I was at a point too where I truly did love myself before I did start to like put myself out there. And so that was a huge factor in itself because I wasn't seeking like something from these men or boys. Like I already had that something in me. I already had that something fulfilled. So it was kind of just like, you're just an addition. And if I don't have you, then, well, too bad. But I agree. Like the older I got, the easier it is to just rip off the Band-Aid and just to do it. I mean, if I didn't shoot my shot with Armando, like we wouldn't be where we are today. And he always laughs. He's like, there was this one time I was going to ask you out and I kind of just chickened out. And I was like, well, look at that. You should have just shoot your shot and we wouldn't have been here. And I always kind of like have it over his head. Well, I'm always like, he's like, can you just go do this? I'm like, no, remember, I'm the one who asked you out. So I already did everything.
That's true. You did do it.
Think that when people like think about doing stuff, right, or think about acting on something, they get too caught up in their mind about like, what if this and what if that, and they just play out like a series of things that are not really happening. There's nothing happening, and they don't, like Alyssa said, just shoot their shot. Like if you're gonna go into something that you're a little bit fearful for, like just don't try to plan out the rest of your life. That would just be my
I think
advice.
that's a really good point. Like, you're just in it for the moment. Like, who even says you have tomorrow? So just do it, kind of thing. Like, just jump. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You get a no, then it's like, okay, I'll never see you again. So like, what does it matter? You know, like, you're not a family friend. You're not someone. You're not in. You know what I mean? You're not like someone I'll have to see during the holidays or something of that nature. So it's like, if you get rejected, I guess, by a boy, like, or a girl, it's kind of like, whatever, like, oh well, gotta go, bye, never see you, and you just walk away fast. Who cares? They'd probably barely know your name, right?
Yeah.
I don't even think you even introduce your name. You're just like, oh, is that coffee yours? I like that coffee too. How interesting. And then go from there.
Tiffany is such a flirt. Come on.
Dude, no, I get pretty embarrassed. Like if I actually see someone that's like really cute or good looking, I get very flustered and I just like I
Same.
get very nervous. I'm like, oh my God.
I don't know how to talk anymore. I'm just like, I don't want to say the wrong thing. Then I just sound
Right?
stupid.
You're just like, I'm already stupid. Just don't talk to me. I mean, I
There's
don't
so
know.
many opportunities. I feel like when I shot my shot with the bartender, I kind of was just like talking to him, and I was like asking him about like, how was his day? I think I asked him out. I don't remember quite clearly, but we ended up hanging out, and you know, it was a good time. It was a good time for my friends because then we kept going to that same bar. You know, this is the old me, but it's okay. It's still part of me.
Would you guys give your friends the same advice if they were trying to shoot their shot with you?
You mean like our guy friends?
Yeah.
I was like, you want to go on a date with me, Tiff?
I know.
Yes, I do. Hell yeah, I do. Come
Like
on.
if they asked us for advice on how to do it for us,
Yes.
I would just start laughing because I'd be like, ew, that means they like me and it's awkward.
I don't. I would hope that my guy friend would know if it was mutual or not mutual. Like I would hope that there's that boundary, that like, you know,
That
'cause
mutual understanding.
yeah, I wouldn't want to put them in a situation. Well, I wouldn't want them to put themselves in a situation to get rejected.
Right.
And then but we just laugh about it, like.
Yeah, because it's So what would you say, Tip?
I mean, honestly, I had a couple of friends already ask before, and I was just like, why can't we just keep things as it is? It's all good right now. I was like, a year or two later, we're gonna be off to college. That's just too far. Like college.
And Tiffany's always thinking in the future.
You have you're such a hot commodity. Yeah, Tiffany, you're already planning your future.
No, I never said that. It's just like, I don't know. When I grew up, every time I saw my sisters dating people, right? And like obviously since we were younger, they would date them for maybe 3 or 4 years. I always thought they were dating for the future to like get married and like move to getting together. So I don't know, for some reason I also thought the same way. I was just like, I don't really want to be in a relationship if I don't really see a future in it. And that's just how it's always been. So when I'm looking for someone, I'm looking for a future together, because I'm not going to invest my time and my money into someone who's going to leave. Which, no, I'm not saying like you have to find someone. I'm just saying that that's how I've done mine. Like I've actually never really dated anyone just for like I've never had like a summer fling, like, which I think would be pretty fun. But
Wait, but have your friends ever told you, and then like how did that change your friendship?
it didn't really change that much, because I just told them, I was like, if you don't act weird, I'm not gonna act weird. And I was like, we can laugh it off if you want to. I was like, if you want to talk about it, I was like, if you really want to see why I don't see you in that light, I was like, it's just kind of harder, because if you've been friends for so long, it's kind of harder to put them in that category when you've already placed them in the friend zone.
Yeah, unless you guys were always flirty. For me, I was so immature, I just cut them off out of my life.
Oh, sad.
I know. I feel bad. Like as I got older, I was like, that was such a dick move.
Yeah, I might have done the same then. But not intentionally.
Yeah, it just got awkward.
Oh, it wasn't awkward for me. I always tell them like, no, bro, don't ask me out today, okay? Like, come on, let's just be friends.
Not today, Satan.
I mean, not like that, but pretty much like that. Like, so where are we going today, bro? And like, you know, I would always like, he's like, oh, you're putting me in the friend zone already? We just started hanging out. And I'm like, come on, why do you do this to me? We're friends.
Why you gotta play a brother like that?
You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. Like, I've told people before, like, I'm sorry, I only see you as a friend. And, like, it's, like, awkward for weeks. But then I'm like, they all seem to get over it. But I'm like, there's a reason why we don't talk anymore. It's because, like, there's that underlying feeling that, like, you're not going to get what you want out of me, you know?
oh, that's good.
Okay.
Oh, but there was this one shady time. I was like recently single, right? So I was like, "Hey, let me visit you. I just like want to go and visit your town or whatever," which is like not even that far from here. And so like this person was having a party with like his friends and whatever, and I was like, "You know what? These are your friends. I'm a little tired. I'm gonna hit the hay." Like I just took a nap. And then I woke up and my friend was there trying to like spoon me. And I was like, this is not okay. I like pushed him like away and like I was like, what the F? And like after that I was like, that is like seriously, that was not okay. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that broke a level of trust, you know, between me and like somebody I thought of as like my brother. I was like, that wasn't cool. So him I don't talk to.
Do you guys ever have fear of like trying new foods?
If it's
No.
something that I'm not familiar with, then yes. Like what was it? Krista was talking about her
Bull
like
testicles?
mountain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
that I
right,
would
Rocky
probably
Mountain oysters.
Yeah.
What about like escargot? Like, would you guys ever try it?
I
I'll
think I already
try
ate
it.
that.
Mm.
Yeah.
I say like you have to try everything once. That way you know like whether or not you like it. Like I tried escargot once and I know I'll never eat it again because I know I hated it.
Yeah, I'll always try
Yeah,
something once.
I already know I'll hate it. No, I'm just kidding.
Actually, sometimes your mind will perceive it that way. If you ultimately think it's going to be really, really bad,
That's
and
what you're
then
gonna taste.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dang, I believe in that 1000%. The mind is so powerful.
But yeah, totally fear of
Thanks.
the unknown stuff. But other
Mhm.
than that, no. I think everything is okay to try.
Was there ever a time where you thought something was gonna be like really bad and you tasted it and you liked it?
Mustard.
Same.
When that chef made me try it on the hot dog, I was so scared and I bit it and I was like, wow. Changed.
But you know what it was? Mustard and wasabi. You guys know when I eat sushi, you guys always like look at me with wide eyes because I eat hella wasabi.
Yeah. Oh, that was me and Ginger too. I didn't like it until I ate it with sushi.
There you go.
I think it was like beef tongue.
Lengua.
La lengua. Yeah, but not on tacos. It was for Korean barbecue. And Michael was like, dude, just try it. And I was like, tongue? Yeah, okay, I'll try it. It was pretty good. I would say I still don't like tripe. I didn't like tripe as a kid, and I tried to redeem myself as an adult now, and I still don't like it. And now that I know how it's made, I really don't like it. Don't look it up. It's gross.
Okay.
I don't know. I think for me, it was when I was a kid, my mom always had this rule like we couldn't get up until all of our food was done. And that was torture. And I feel like now that like I'm older, like, and I have the choice and I can have options and I get to choose what I want to eat, like I'm more selective. And then now with my new diet, like I'm even more selective. So I think I would go out in the realms of my new diet. Like now that I'm like pescatarian, vegetarian, I would try like new things in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
What would you guys say is your biggest fear, like being an adult now that we've experienced majority of like what we grew up?
Mine is I'll never be debt free.
You got a huge debt.
I'm so scared I'll never be debt free. But I don't know why that hurts me. I mean, it doesn't bother me, whatever. Like, I'll just pay my monthly payments. Like, it's really not a big deal. I think just what sucks is that I have to give my money to these monthly payments. But I mean, my credit score is amazing. It doesn't affect me in that sense. So it's just my money goes away.
I think mine is like messing up. Like in a way, as in like, I feel like I need to get more stable income and savings because I'm old and I need to get a house soon. That's just like, it's like my biggest fear that I'm not going to have enough money to do the basic things that we do when we get older, like raise kids. Yeah.
I think this might sound like weird coming from me, but like I think one of the biggest fears I have right now is commitment. I'm engaged, so I'm already like committing. I'm not like afraid of commitment to like be married. Like I'm more like afraid of like committing like my time. Like I would feel bad because there's some like opportunities that I've been actually thinking about like volunteering in certain sectors or like helping out in certain charities, but like which is things that I've done before. But I remember back when I was like in late college, I like way over committed and I'm a little bit traumatized. So I'm like, I'm afraid to commit again just because I know that I can go in like really like deep in it and get lost in it. So that's my fear.
I would say mine's is not being able to push myself to do bigger things, especially for like work and stuff. I feel like when I say, at least from my previous job, like I was very comfortable with what I was doing and how much I was making, and I feel like my fear is getting stuck in a job where I'm not growing, and I just don't feel the need to push myself to do better. So I'm always thinking now that like maybe I should go get certificates to, you know, make myself be better at doing my job, or just get certificates just because I can do it. So I don't know. I think most of it's kind of just like being stuck and just stop growing it like indefinitely.
Those are all so sad. This is the
No,
reality of being an adult.
I definitely feel you on that tip. Like there's always like you never want to settle and you think like I'm too young to like stay at this job for too many years. Yeah, it's a balance. Like there are times even now where I feel like I'm plateauing, but I'm like, no, there's still things to work on. It's just not always going to be an everyday conscious effort.
I think that's my fear too. Like as a teacher, like the only way up is if I become a principal, and I don't think I'll ever want to become a principal. It just becomes paperwork, and that's not obviously why I'm in this career field. So I feel like I don't know.
The
Like
fear of the unknown.
What's left, I guess. Don't get me wrong, I love my job. It's so much fun.
Or do you have any fears with like marriage?
Oh, 1000%.
Same.
Yeah.
I never thought that because when I was a kid, I was so excited for it. But now that I'm older, I'm just like, it's cute to have marriage and love, but then I'm also like, so much can also go wrong. It's scary.
I think the scariest part is that it's a legal binding document. I think that's the thing that freaks me out the most, is because it's like, oh, you done it. You set it in stone. It's written in the documents. It's done. You can't do anything anymore. I mean, like, yes, there's things as divorce, but of course, not a lot of people want to go through the divorce course because, you know, they don't want to be like, oh, you know, didn't you hear she was divorced? And then people give you the pity look and stuff, and it's like, maybe being divorced actually made me happier. Don't just make these assumptions, okay?
But I don't even want that, like, ever. I don't want that word to come up. It's like scary to think that like you see people who are so in love and then like maybe 20 years together and then they're like, I don't want it anymore. And I'm like, 20 years? Like, it just scares me.
I think in 20 years, I would be fearful of starting over.
Yeah.
Boy.
The thrill. They're like starting a new life, like completely wipes the old life away. It's starting anew.
That stresses me out.
I know, like not even there.
I used to be stressed out like there was no like guidance. There was nobody to say, like with my family, when I was like, oh, I think we're thinking about getting engaged, we're thinking about starting a life together. My family was like, great. I was like, you don't have anything negative to say? And they're like, should we? And I was like, I don't know. I feel like you should. Like, I feel like it's always like in the movies that the family or like somebody in your life will be like, not this one. You know what I mean? And I didn't have that. And I was like, can I trust my gut on this? And that was like my biggest fear is like, I don't know if I trust my gut. But that was like a long story, long time ago. And like, it's been a long time coming. And like, I'm actually, well, so I'm engaged, right? So like, I'm actually going into this like really confident, like a lot better than how I was in the beginning because I needed, I don't know, I just felt like I needed a lot of validation that I don't feel like I need anymore. But I did get a lot of like advice from a lot of my peers, and they were like, why not just get a divorce? Like, they're so common now. It's like so easy. And they're like, and you know what? People don't judge people who get divorced anymore. They just don't. It's
Yeah,
just
it's
like
so
a thing.
common. That's what scares me.
Exactly.
People treat it like it's like whatever. So I'm like, in a few years, is it going to be even, more common? I don't know.
Because 50% of Americans are divorced or have been divorced.
Yeah, it's scary.
It's 1 in 2 people.
I would say if you find somebody who has the same values as you and has a like concerning marriage, like if you value like not divorcing and like having a lifelong like commitment, like through thick or thin, if you find someone who has the same values as you, I think it'll work out a little bit better rather than like, I like this person, we may not agree on like the key points in life, but we'll just see where it goes. I wouldn't recommend that option. That's just my opinion, but I think it may not be as scary when you find somebody who shares the same values as you, whatever your values may be.
It's still
Not there
scary.
yet, so yeah. I was gonna say, like, Alyssa and Tiff have been with theirs for a while, and it's still like a fear.
It's a
right?
big jump. Like,
Yeah.
it's not jumping into a pool. It's like jumping into the fucking ocean.
Yeah.
It's like,
With piranhas and sharks.
And it's not like accepting a job offer where you can always get another job. Like, this is such a big decision.
like, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
No backing out now. Armando tells me that all the time. He's like, this is it. No backing out. I'm like, excuse me? I'm just kidding.
ew.
Is it set in stone?
Yeah, literally.
It says to me, it's not. So, not right now, at least.
Life, man. Life's scary. I think life in general is scary. I mean, other than marriage, like what other aspect of life are you fearful for?
Oh, how my children will turn out. Like,
Oof.
I know that we can all be good mothers, but you also can't control what they will become, like to a certain extent. So it's like scary. And I don't want to be so negative, but it's like I watch a lot of like documentaries on like I see how heartbroken those parents are when they find out like their children shot people at school or like murdered someone, and you never know what, no, I'm not saying my kids are going to kill people, but like I'm just saying kids can be so different. It's just like the person you married, like everyone can change so quickly. It's scary.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too, and like generational curses, and I was like, ooh, like what things about me that I don't like would I possibly pass on to my kids? And I felt like that was a pretty scary thought.
Like your mental health stuff.
Yeah.
My attitude.
That
I want a little mini
come
me.
out with hella sass.
I want a mini me arguing with me. Like,
Dude, I know
who are
every year
you?
she's gonna be like, Mom, why are you not taking me to Disneyland this year? Can't afford it.
His mom was broke.
Mama gotta pay for college.
Mama gotta
and
pay for
paying
this
for
retirement.
college. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's hard for me. I think that's my biggest fear. Like, I don't want my kids to struggle with what I struggled with, aka my college debt, aka, I don't know, just buying my own car or,
Yeah.
I mean, of course I want my kids to be responsible, but of course I don't want them to have worries from the get-go, right? Like, I would rather, have them set off pretty good, like paying for their college or buying them their first car. Of course, it's not gonna be no Lexus BMW, but that your hoopty will get you from A to B, and that's all you need, because you're gonna bump and scrape this thing like crazy anyway. So what do you care, you know? When you want a nicer car, go ahead, buy yourself a nicer car. But for now, you can have this one.
As we get older, do you find yourself less afraid to try new things or things that scare you?
I feel like now that I'm older, I'm more willing to try like more adventurous things, or like put myself out there, or learn new things, or pick up a new trade. Like if it's gonna benefit me, and I know it's gonna benefit me, and I've outweighed the cons to the pros, and I ultimately know this is an investment in myself. Like I'll put in the time, I'll put in the effort, you know, and I'll go all in. But I feel like if it's just not a smart move, like I don't think I would jump in. And obviously less fear, right?
Yeah.
I guess the fear really sets in when, do I know if it's a good investment or opportunity for myself?
Mm-hmm.
Am I risking or investing in something that is gonna fail? I think that's what scares me.
Or like sometimes when I was younger, I'd see my aunts like at family parties just like dancing around or like being really stupid, and us kids would be like, oh my gosh, they're so embarrassing, like they're so old, why they. But now I'm like, I get it, like you're old and you just don't care what people think about you anymore. And I'm like so happy to get there, because before it's always like I'm so like I'm gonna be myself, but I'm also thinking, are people judging me? And now it's like I don't care anymore. Like I will be my aunt.
It reminds me of like Bring It On, when she's like, Ling Ling, you forgot your bling
Yeah.
bling. And she's like, so, you know what I mean? She's so ashamed like of her mom and where she comes from. And then at the end, she, you know, she just embraces it. Like I think that's the real, you know, goal and happiness, you know, once you finally embrace your fear or embrace whatever you're scared of, you know, that's where the joy comes in.
I think I'm more afraid of trying physical things. And what I mean that is like doing like skydiving and like bungee jumping. Because as a kid, I always wanted to do it. You know, you were like, oh, it's so cool. It's going to be so fun. But now as I'm getting older and, you know, your body doesn't repair as fast as it did when you were a kid. I'm like, I have a fear of dying so much that I just freak myself out. And I'm just like, I would never, ever do it. Like, and I can't do it because I just have that constant fear.
You would cherish your life more.
I do.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't do as much stupid things that I did before. Like I would go off the roof of my house and jump into the pool, and my mom thought it was completely fine. She's like, they're kids, you know, the bones will go back. But now as an adult, I was like, if I bleed and I bleed to death, like that's it. That's my life.
That's true.
If I lose a finger, it's gone. It's not coming back.
Or a tooth. It's not a baby tooth. Yeah.
Actually, that scares me a lot too, actually, because I eat so much candy. I'm scared I'm going to have so much cavities and all my teeth are going to come out.
And you're going to have fake teeth.
Alyssa, you're laughing. This is true.
I can imagine you at 60 with those, like my grandma, where they pull out their fake teeth the entire thing.
Let me just get
smile without it.
Yeah.
What is something right now in your life where fear is getting in your way?
I'd probably say marriage, because as I'm getting older, my sisters and my mom are expecting me to get married soon and to have a kid very quickly after, because they're like, well, you've been together with Michael, it's 7 years now, you know, get married, just tie the knot. And if I'm like, when you've been together, like I haven't fully enjoyed my younger years. I was like, I still want to travel, you know, like I want to go around places before I have kids. And I was like, I still want to enjoy my married life before I have kids. And I was like, I don't even know when I'm going to be even ready to get married. Like I know we're 26 now. Holy crap. 26, 4 more years until we're 30, folks. And I still don't even know if I'm ready to get married. Like, I think just seeing that portion of the future, like for relationship, is still very fearful for me. So that's why I always say, like, nothing is set in stone. I'm not trying to promise anything because, like I said, anything can happen.
Mm-hmm. I think that's one of my fears too. Like, even though, like, I'm starting to talk to people again, it's, like, nice just because I like talking. But I'm scared to put myself out there fully again because of just, like, the past. Like, I know how I can be very weak. So, like, I don't know, it's scary, and I also don't want to waste my time because, like, I'm like, you guys, hello, I want to be like you guys in a relationship where you know you're probably going to get married to this person. So that, and also my business, I'm still, like, afraid to get the new products that I am working on actually done because I would have to invest thousands of dollars just like I did with my other stuff that I made back, but like it's not always guaranteed everything's going to always sell. So like, yeah, those two things are probably like the biggest things in my life that are stressing me out because I'm just scared.
Okay, so I think for me, it is moving out. I feel like the pressure to move out. Not that like my mom's like, you gotta leave, I need your room or anything. I think I'm just fearful of trying to make it. And I mean, my diet is not cheap. So I'm also scared of that. I don't want to live on PB&Js either. I mean, I love to eat. I know there's ways around it. I know I can do it. I guess I'm just fearful. And I also don't want to invest in something that isn't going to come back to me. So I really don't want to rent, but I really do want to move out. I really do want to like buy a place. I'm fearful that I'm not going to make it. Like I'm fearful that I'm going to have to like come back home. And I know my mom will welcome me with like open arms, and you know, she won't like hurt my feelings and say like, I told you so, you should have never done that. And like she won't, you know, like say any of those mean things to me. I just, you know, I want to make it, you know. I think I don't know anyone in my family who has like bought a house. So other than my aunt has bought a house, but that was like later in her life when she was really steady in her career, and I'm like year one in my career. So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just really want to do it, you know. But the fear. I'm also scared of living by myself. I've never lived in a single family home. I've always lived with relatives. I've always had cousins or uncles or somebody else in the house, to where like we've never like lived it on our own, you know. So that's also something I fear. I don't know, I watch a lot of scary things, so like anything could happen, you know. I don't want to get killed, like
Exactly.
yeah. Like, how do people do it? How do people live like in single family homes? I've never heard of this.
Ever since I was a kid, I'd always wanted to ride a motorcycle, like by myself, not just be a passenger on it. I've been thinking about buying one, and like my friends have been trying to sell me one. But the whole thing is like, actually, it's like, it's a really expensive hobby. You have to know a lot about it in order to be safe. And right now, I just don't think I can give it the time and the effort that that would be needed to, start riding this thing. Like, we all drive cars and that's four wheels and you're stable, but on two wheels, it's like a whole other ball game. You have to like dress up. You have to make sure your machines are good. Like, I'm not ready for that kind of commitment right now. But I mean, I would hope to that one day, like before I ever have kids, like I want to ride a motorcycle. I don't know when, but at some point. I don't know. I think this is a hard one. I feel like, I mean, other than the motorcycle thing, I don't really feel like I'm that fearful much right now. It's just because it's the current season of life, but like, I think also, like, I also fear that, like, maybe I won't make it as well. Like, as, like, I'm getting married soon, like, it's gonna be time to, like, move out and to venture off. And, like, I'm very hopeful and I like to maintain, like, a hopeful outlook on that. But I think there is a little bit of fear that, like, I don't want to be the one that comes home or comes back home and then have to be like looking at my sibling, because she was always encouraging me and like telling me that like I can do it, like if anybody's gonna make it, it's gonna be me. And like I just have like the fear of like disappointment that I can't live up to this expectation.
Well, I guess the moral of the story is shoot your shot and jump in, go all in, right? Don't let that fear of rejection, fear of starting get in your way. You're the only one making up all those what ifs, like Krista said, and you are the only one really in your own way. What's the worst that's gonna happen? You know what I mean? It'll be all right. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Thanks for watching and listening. We really appreciate your love, y'all. Stay bitchin'.